What if I told you the Cleveland Browns didn't just close practice? They shut the entire outside world out for a reason nobody wants to admit? No warning, no build-up. One day reporters were standing on the sidelines, watching every throw, and the next, the doors were locked. No cameras, no notes, no access. And just like that, one of the loudest media environments in the NFL went completely silent. But this wasn't random. This wasn't emotional, and it definitely wasn't accidental. Because behind those closed doors, something had already gone too far, and that's when everything changed. It started with a move that caught everyone off guard. Head coach Todd Monken didn't call a big press conference. He didn't argue with reporters. He didn't even try to explain himself. He just shut it all down. Access, gone. Sidelines, closed. Observations, finished. And suddenly, the same reporters who had been shaping the conversation around this team were stuck outside looking in. That's when the panic kicked in. Because when media loses access, they lose control of the narrative. And in Cleveland, that narrative had already been building for a while, but that was just the beginning. Just 3 days into minicamp, 3 days, the story was already being written. Reports started surfacing that Deshaun Watson was looking like the clear favorite to start. 3 days, not preseason, not training camp, not real competition. 3 days of light reps, warm-ups, and timing drills, and somehow the quarterback battle was already leaning one way. That's not evaluation. That's narrative building, and coaches notice that faster than anyone. Because inside a locker room, stuff like this spreads. One headline turns into whispers. Whispers turn into doubt. And doubt? That's how you lose a team before the season even starts. Monken saw exactly where it was heading, and he wasn't about to let it play out. But to understand why he reacted like that, you have to go back to what happened before. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into a normal situation. He came in as a top draft pick, a franchise-level investment, the kind of player teams are supposed to build around. But what happened next didn't match that at all. No real first-team reps, no consistent opportunities, no chance to build chemistry with the starting offense, nothing. And somehow, that wasn't the story. Instead of asking why a high-value quarterback wasn't being developed, the focus shifted onto him, his readiness, his attitude, his performance. Even though he barely got the chance to show any of it, and that's where things started to spiral. Then came the criticism, and not the normal kind either. We're talking about public call-outs from people who knew exactly how this works. Rex Ryan questioned his preparation, doubted why he wasn't on the field, framed it like he wasn't doing enough. But here's the problem. How do you prove yourself when you're not even being given real reps? It's like judging a player who never got into the game, and somehow it didn't stop there, because then the conversation shifted again. And this time, it got personal. When reports came out about arm soreness, something completely normal for quarterbacks, it didn't get treated like normal. Instead, it got turned into a storyline. Questions about toughness, questions about commitment, questions about whether he could handle it. Think about how backwards that is. A young quarterback, finally getting reps, finally pushing his body. And the reaction is criticism? That's not analysis, that's narrative. And once the conversation moves from football to character, that's when things inside a team start getting dangerous. But somehow, it still wasn't over. Because while all of this was happening, another storyline was quietly being built, and it involved Dillon Gabriel. At first, it was subtle. Mentions here and there, comparisons. Maybe he's the safer option. Maybe he deserves more reps. And then it kept growing, over and over again. Until suddenly, it felt like there was always another option, always another alternative, always someone else being pushed into the conversation. And here's the thing. The narrative kept changing. 1 minute someone was being praised, the next minute they were being dismissed, which tells you everything. Because when opinions flip that fast, it was never about truth in the first place. It was about control. And Monken was watching all of it unfold in real time. At that point, it wasn't just noise anymore. It was affecting the room.